At the end of World War I, Europe, although seemingly at peace, had become a continent of seething discord and discontent. Germany was crushed under the harsh conditions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles, and the economic depression and national humiliation brought on by war reparations had created deep anger among the people. This anger was felt in every segment of society and was seen as a harbinger of great events to come. This unrest, which had begun to sprout in Europe in the 1920s, had sown the seeds of a new war that would break out in the 1930s. The seeds of World War II were sown with the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in Germany. Burdened by the harsh conditions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles, Germany faced an economic collapse. As the people struggled with unemployment and poverty, Hitler used these crises to gain public support. Promising a greater Germany, he vowed to restore the nation's lost dignity and territories. In 1933, Hitler became chancellor and quickly dismantled democratic institutions, declaring himself dictator. Hitler's ideology wasn't limited to Germany. Through his Lebensraum, living space doctrine, he argued that Germany needed more land, threatening neighboring countries and sparking aggressive policies worldwide. In fascist Italy, Benito Mussolini sought to restore the glory of the Roman Empire through military conquests, while Japan in the Far East aimed to build an empire in Asia, starting with the invasion of Manchuria in 1931 and the attack on China in 1937. In Europe, Hitler's plans advanced swiftly. In 1936, Germany remilitarized the Rhineland, openly violating the Treaty of Versailles. Then, in 1938, Germany annexed Austria and demanded the Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia. European leaders, hoping to maintain peace, gave in to these demands. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain and French leaders agreed to give Hitler the Sudetenland in exchange for his promise of no further expansion. However, this policy only whetted Hitler's appetite. On September 1, 1939, Germany launched a lightning-fast blitzkrieg, lightning war, against Poland. Using a combination of tanks and air support, German forces attacked from the north and west, quickly overwhelming Polish defenses. Poland's strategic position gave Germany a significant advantage for future military operations. The invasion of Poland shocked Europe. Just 2 days later, on September 3, 1939, Britain and France declared war on Germany, marking the start of the largest global conflict since World War I. Yet this war would be far more brutal and widespread. Poland didn't just face military defeat under German occupation. Its civilian population was also targeted, with Jewish citizens sent to concentration camps and subjected to mass killings. The Axis powers' rapid success in the early years of the war was due in part to Germany's blitzkrieg tactics. This strategy involved fast-moving tank divisions, motorized infantry, and coordinated airstrikes that broke through enemy lines, leaving them unprepared and disoriented. The fall of Poland in 1939 highlighted the effectiveness of blitzkrieg, but this was only the beginning. In the spring of 1940, Hitler's forces struck again. The German military targeted Denmark and Norway. Denmark fell within hours, and although Norway resisted a bit longer, it too eventually came under German control. These occupations provided Germany with strategic bases in the North Sea and secured vital iron supplies from Sweden. With these victories, Hitler turned his attention to the heart of Western Europe, France. Germany's attack on France began in May 1940. Despite the French military's strong defense lines like the Maginot Line, they were taken by surprise when German forces advanced through the Ardennes, a region thought impassable. The Germans quickly overran Belgium and the Netherlands, and by June 1940, Paris fell and the French government surrendered. The Germans established a puppet regime known as Vichy France in the occupied part of the country. These victories solidified Hitler's control over much of Europe. However, Hitler wasn't finished. Before turning eastward toward the Soviet Union, one major obstacle remained in the West: Britain. Hitler knew he couldn't fully control Europe without first defeating Britain, which had stood alone after witnessing the fall of Western Europe. The British people understood that a Nazi attack was imminent, but they were determined to resist. In the summer of 1940, the Battle of Britain began. Hitler aimed to gain air superiority over Britain before launching a seaborne invasion. The German Luftwaffe, Air Force, launched widespread air raids in July 1940, targeting British airfields, radar stations, factories, and ports. But Britain had two key advantages that disrupted Hitler's plans. First was the extraordinary bravery of the Royal Air Force RAF pilots. Despite being young and inexperienced, these pilots fought the Luftwaffe with great determination. As Winston Churchill famously said, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." The second advantage was radar technology. Britain was one of the first nations to use radar in warfare, giving its pilots a crucial edge by predicting where German planes would attack. By August 1940, the Luftwaffe intensified its bombing campaigns, targeting major cities like London. The London Blitz, which began in September, caused widespread destruction. Thousands of people died, and millions were left homeless. However, under Churchill's strong leadership, British morale remained high. People continued their daily lives, even in air raid shelters, refusing to be broken by the bombs. The German strategy to demoralize the British population backfired, as it only united them further. Unable to achieve air superiority over Britain, Hitler suspended his plans for invasion, Operation Sea Lion. By the fall of 1940, the Battle of Britain had ended in Germany's first major defeat. Britain's resilience became a crucial source of morale for the Allies, and the tide of the war began to turn. The failure of the Battle of Britain didn't stop Hitler. After failing to conquer the West, Nazi Germany turned its gaze eastward to the Soviet Union. Hitler believed it was only a matter of time before he conquered the USSR. Driven by the Lebensraum ideology, he saw the Soviet Union's vast resources and fertile lands as critical to Germany's expansion. On June 22, 1941, under Hitler's orders, the largest land invasion in history began, Operation Barbarossa. Germany launched an attack on Soviet territory with nearly 3 million soldiers, thousands of tanks, and aircraft. At first, the Germans made significant advances. The Soviet army was caught off guard and forced to retreat. German forces rapidly approached Moscow and Leningrad, capturing Soviet cities one by one. However, the vast size of the Soviet Union and its brutal winter conditions began to wear down the German army. As winter set in, German troops faced severe equipment shortages and logistical problems. The Soviets, bolstered by General Winter, launched counterattacks and successfully halted the German advance. The heavy losses suffered near Moscow shattered Germany's hopes of a quick victory. The invasion of the Soviet Union turned into a long and drawn-out war of attrition, marking one of Hitler's greatest strategic blunders. The war was not limited to Europe. Japan accelerated its efforts to establish dominance in the Pacific. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, bringing the United States into the war. This attack galvanized American public opinion, and the U.S. rapidly mobilized its military and industrial resources. The entry of the United States marked a significant turning point for the Allies. In 1942, American and Allied forces began a series of counteroffensives in both Europe and the Pacific. The Battle of Midway in June 1942 was a crucial victory that halted Japan's expansion in the Pacific. At the same time in Europe, the Allies launched the North African Campaign, laying the groundwork for the invasion of Italy. On June 6, 1944, the Normandy invasion, D-Day, commenced. This operation was a monumental step toward liberating Western Europe from Nazi occupation. Despite significant challenges, Allied forces successfully landed on the beaches of Normandy, leading to the liberation of Paris and a major offensive against Germany. The victory at Normandy demonstrated that Hitler's power was waning. From the west, the Allies advanced, while the Soviet Union moved in from the east toward Germany. During this time, the horrors of the war began to fully emerge. The Holocaust led to the deaths of approximately 6 million Jews, along with millions of others. Concentration camps and mass graves marked one of the darkest chapters in human history. By early 1945, Allied forces had encircled Germany from both the east and the west. In April, Soviet troops captured Berlin, and Hitler committed suicide on April 30th. Germany surrendered on May 7th, officially ending the war in Europe. This victory was celebrated as Victory Day, VE Day, but the war in the Pacific continued. On the Pacific Front, U.S. forces faced fierce resistance from Japan. Islands like Iwo Jima and Okinawa became sites of extremely bloody battles for both sides. The prospect of invading the Japanese mainland would come at a tremendous cost. For this reason, President Harry S. Truman made the controversial decision to drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These attacks resulted in massive destruction and civilian casualties, but accelerated Japan's surrender. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its capitulation, and World War II officially came to an end.